House of Representatives advocates more funding for the Nigerian Maritime University, Delta State.
Some of our programs are relatively new. Some staff have died, some have retired, some have japared, they have left the country.
Cross River State Assembly confirms State Independent Electoral Commission. Plus, correspondent x-rays achievements of the 10th Senate. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NTA Parliament News. I am Ene Ojonugba. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has reassured members of the Nigerian Armed Forces of government's commitment to the welfare of military personnel and continuous improvement of their working conditions. This was during the inauguration of the remodeled officers' mess at the National Defense College, Abuja. Akpabio and the Commandant's National Defense College, Rear Admiral Olumuyiwa Olotu, described the remodeled officers' mess as not just a building, but a place where ideas will be enhanced and values strengthened.
And we believe strongly in the 2025 budget that Mr. President will make adequate provision for the completion of the permanent site, and it's the right thing to do. You've noticed the college has gone global. It's not just from West Africa. You have a lot of people from the entirety of Africa and some participants all the way from China. Am I right? And Germany and other places. So it's something that we must give them a much wider space and a befitting edifice.
This facility is also the place where we host all dignitaries visiting the college, both from within and outside the country. Hence, the need to always maintain it to very high standards.
President of the Senate also spoke on moving the National Defense College to its permanent site. The Minister of Defense also inaugurated the refurbished main gate of the National Defense College and the newly built Vice Admiral Jibrila Anyila complex. A lifeline, you may say, as the House of Representatives is advocating more funds for the Nigerian Maritime University, Akeren Koko, Delta State, to address infrastructural deficits in the institution. The good news came when the House of Representatives Committee on University Education visited the institution. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports on these and other oversights to federal universities in the South-South zone.
This is the way to the Nigerian Maritime University, Okerenkoko, Delta State. And with me are members of the House of Representatives Committee on University Education on oversight visit.
After 1.5 hours journey through the riverine area, members of the House Committee arrived at their destination. The engagement commenced. Reports presented and observations made on critical areas as they affect each institution.
They must be provided with a conducive atmosphere within which they will pursue their own academic activities. Life is as it is here is very, very difficult. You have seen the terrain, how we suffered before we even got here. So these are some of the issues that are infrastructure inadequacy.
At the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, FORUM, the committee identified violation on internally generated revenue.
We have noted the lapses that was raised by the team, and we are going to respond to that.
The committee was also at the University of Calabar and that of Uyo, all in the South-South, breached in the nominal role which violated federal character principles attracted the representatives' attention.
We have asked for opportunity for us to employ. We don't have enough staff in most of our departments, most of our programs. Some of our programs are relatively new. Some staff have died, some have retired, some have japared, they have left the country.
So what you remitted to federal government represented what percentage of your IGR? So what constitutes territory revenue?
The committee is expected to round off its visitations with Southwest and the Northwest geopolitical zones. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
As flood submerged communities in Sokoto State, the House of Assembly has called on the state government to come to the aid of victims by providing them with shelter and other relief materials. Speaker of the House, Tukubala Bodinga, announced the resolution of the House at plenary. Nuruddin Abdullahi Adili has more.
Flood has continued to be source of worry to many communities in Sokoto State. Sabon Birni local government is among those severely affected by the flood in recent days. About 5 communities, including road that links to many communities, was washed away as a result of heavy downpour and overflow of Goronyo Dam. This affected several farmlands and collapse of a number of houses in Kura, Tara, Gatawa and Garin Idi villages with agricultural produce worth millions of naira destroyed. It is again this backdrop that member representing Sabon Birni South constituency, Saidu Naino Ibrahim, presented matters of urgent public importance on the floor of the House, calling on the federal government, state and concerned agencies to come to the aid of his constituents. Some members contributed in support of the matters with a call on the state government to, as a matter of urgency, do the needful. The Speaker, Tukurbala Bodinga, announced the House unanimous resolve to call on the federal and state governments, as well as concerned agencies, to provide the affected communities with food, drugs, and other relief materials to alleviate their suffering. From Sokoto State House of Assembly, Nuruddin Abdullah Adeli, NTA News.
Parliaments are deliberative assemblies where debates are instruments of engagement among members to impact national development. In this report, National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo takes a look at the nature of debates in Nigeria's apex legislative institution, the National Assembly.
When members of Parliament make their way into the hallowed chamber, a forum for argument is eminent, but structured in a formal debate. It is usually a debate for or against a bill or motion. As serious as it is, every parliament has rules for debate, and no member speaks unless recognized by the presiding officer. Any deviation from this rule becomes out of order.
Well, as per our rules, if you're desirous of making contribution on a bill or on a motion, it is only when the presiding officer recognizes you that you have the right to speak.
Debates in Parliament have influenced policies and decisions of governments the world over. The influence of the revocation of the doctrine of necessity by the Senate during the ailing health of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, the aborted third-term agenda, and the parliamentary debate on Brexit are some of the remarkable instances of debates influencing national positions.
The doctrine of necessity was manufactured in the Senate of the Federal Republic.
Consciously or unconsciously, some members of Parliament tend to project sectional positions at the detriment of national interest. Inasmuch as Parliament is a forum for representation of interests, the norm is supposed to be anchored on the superiority of national interest. Legislators who have advanced causes of national priority are usually revered. That is why election into the legislature is a serious decision. A member of Parliament is expected to be one with high sense of reasoning, undivided sense of patriotism, and sound judgment of right and wrong. Legislators are meant to influence the pendulum of national politics.
I see myself as a Nigerian, not just I represent the central Senators. I speak for them, but I also speak for them in issues that relate to national unity of Nigeria.
Primarily, you are a representative of your constituency, but when it comes to the larger picture, whatever the interest of your constituency is should be subsumed to the overall national interest.
For Nigerians to stand in brotherhood, sociologists say parliamentary decisions in Nigeria must consciously be devoid of ethnic or sectional coloration. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
To throw more light on legislative debates is our National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali, who will give us an overview of the 10th Senate in its first year. Lami, you are welcome to Parliamentary News. What are the significant legislative achievements of the 10th Senate since its inauguration? Thank you for having me. Since the inauguration of the 10th Senate, that was in 2023, in June to be specific, June 13th, it has done quite a number of things. We should remember that it came after there were some constitutional amendments made by the 10th Senate, so 9th Senate rather, and this came into effect immediately after the coming on board of the present administration, one of which was the timeline given in the constitutional amendments of chief executives submitting names of appointees, that is for the presidents, the ministers, and then for the state governors, the commissioners, the 90-day time frame. And so when the 9th Senate came on board, it was faced with this challenge of having to confirm appointees of Mr. President within the time frame given by the Constitution based on when the submission was made by the President. We all remember that President Bola Tinubu submitted the names of quite a number of ministerial nominees, and that really put the lawmakers on track for them to really work to see that they confirm these nominees of Mr. President for them to assist him to implement his policies. And so we saw the 10th Senate, members of the 10th Senate having to work even on weekends to screen these nominees, which were almost about 50 in number, and this is the first time that we were having such in Nigeria. Now, aside the ministerial nominees, which they screened and confirmed within a very short time frame, there were also other nominees of Mr. President that were sent to the Senate for confirmation. I will tell you that within a period of 1 year since the inauguration of the 10th Senate, it has so far screened and confirmed over 200 nominees of Mr. President, from ministers to heads of agencies, and then to special assistants and all what have you. And then we came to issue of budgets. This 10th Senate has worked on as many budgets as 6, aside from the annual budget, that is the 2024 budget document, which was presented by Mr. President in October for them to pass it. So they did that within a very short period. And then some months into the life of the 10th Senate, they had to recall the 2023 budget to make some amendments. They also amended the supplementary budget of 2023, and then there was the supplementary budget of 2024, which 2023 rather, which was submitted by Mr. President. So 3 or 4 months into the life cycle of the 10th Senate, they had worked on 3 budgets, and by the end of 2023 they had worked on 4 budgets. Now fast forward to 2024, they recently had to also amend the 2024 budget documents to enable the government to include some items which it says it's omitted in the previous budget, and then also to include the new national minimum wage. So when you look at holistically what the 10th Senate has done, you will see that they've achieved a lot within a very short period in terms of screening and confirming appointees of Mr. President, and also amending and passing budget documents for the executive to implement, to ensure that there's good governance for the citizenry.
What are the significant legislative achievements of the 10th Senate since its inauguration?
This government came on board and was confronted with quite a number of challenges, key among which is the economy, and that started following the removal of the fuel subsidy and then the floating of the foreign exchange, and this brought about inflation. And so the
10th Senate had to, sit up to see that they back up some of these policies with legislations for effective implementation, and to see that these policies do not hit too hard on Nigerians. For example, when the subsidy removal came, the Senate had to recall the 2023 supplementary appropriation to make provision for palliative, so that those that are at the lowest rung of the ladder could now be assisted by government with some form of assistance. And then the Senate invited the Minister of Finance, invited the CBN governor, invited the head of the FIRS to see how they could put ideas together, put their heads together, so that in the implementation of these policies, Nigerians do not suffer. But there are other things that we have to take into consideration. That is, all these issues are not issues that are isolated to Nigeria. While Nigeria is working to see that things move right, or the way it wants it to move, there are other effects from global indices that will also affect your own plans. And so the lawmakers ensured that frequently they invite heads of agencies that are related to these issues to beef up plans of government, to see that all that government is doing is done in such a way that the impact is felt positively. For example, let's take a look at the 70,000 naira minimum wage that has been approved. What was proposed by Labour was quite a high amount, but after consultations with governments and other people in the private sector, they came to an agreement that what the government can afford is 70,000 naira, and anytime soon civil servants are going to start receiving that. We also remember the improved salary for judicial officers, whose salaries have been increased by 300%. And looking at the health aspect, currently there is the monkeypox virus that has become a global emergency as declared by the World Health Organization. Now, the National Center for Disease Control has been making efforts, and some of these efforts require legislative backing, which members of the National Assembly, and in particular the Senate, has never shown any lack of cooperation. Anytime there is a need for it to rise up to the occasion, it does that with consultations, with legislations, with amendments to existing laws, to see that the government achieves its objectives.
Thank you, Lamia Ali, for coming on NTA Parliamentary News. This is NTA Parliament, and still to come, Cross River State House of Assembly confirms State Independent Electoral Commission. These are more stories after the break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. We now go to Kebbi State, where the House of Assembly has set up a committee on transportation and renewable energy to oversee the implementation of the recently passed bill establishing the State Ministry of Transport and Renewable Energy. Correspondent Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
In a significant move, the Speaker, Kebbi State House of Assembly, Muhammad Usman Zuru, announced the establishment of a dedicated House Committee on Transportation and Renewable Energy. Atiku Bello Kuria, representing Gondu constituency, will chair this crucial committee tasked with shaping the state's future in this vital sector.
Member Garba Ibrahim will serve as the secretary of the committee.
In another development, the State Assembly has set the wheel in motion on 4 key bills after the passage of their first and second readings, committing them to the appropriate House Committee for rigorous scrutiny and legislative action. These bills aim to bring transformative change to local government service, transportation and electricity in Kebbi State.
The bill number KB-004/204, the Kebbi State Local Government Amendment Bill 2024 is hereby given second reading and committed to the appropriate committee for legislative duty.
The bills in question include the Kebbi State Local Government Service Establishment Bill, Kebbi State Transport Authority Amendment Bill, Kebbi State Local Government Amendment Bill, and the Kebbi State Electricity Bill. By assigning these bills to the relevant committees, the Assembly has taken a crucial step towards meaningful reform. These committees are now expected to delve into details, conducting thorough examinations and consultations. They will report back to the House within 1 to 2 weeks, paving the way for further legislative action. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
And in Cross River State, the House of Assembly has confirmed the State Independent Electoral Commission, urging it to be unbiased in conduct of local government elections and called on the confidence reposed in them. Uduak Etim reports.
Correspondence sent to the Cross River State House of Assembly by the State Governor Basio II, requesting for consequential confirmation of the nominees into Cross River State Independent Electoral Commission, was read by the clerk, Catherine Ubi. Considering the request, lawmakers commended Governor II for those appointed into the commission, believing they will do well.
The governor has done well. They are taking people from the south, from the north, and from the center. Actually, the later appointees are going to take us to the next level. I am very proud that such people are appointed or nominated into the process. For us to have thorough screen break that will mount the local government areas, which they will in turn, of course, conduct elections in those positions. The chairman is somebody I know, is a highly placed person in the society who have worked with the INEC successfully and retired. I have no doubt that he will do that.
Speaker, Cross River State House of Assembly, Albert Ayambem, urged the Commission not to be partisan in conducting local government elections. The Cross River State House of Assembly, however, confirmed Ekong Boko as chairman of Cross River State Independent Electoral Commission, CROSSEC, and 7 other members, including Lawrence Edu, Secretary, Rose Banku Atep, Daniel Edet, Jerry Akabisong, former clerk, Cross River State House of Assembly, among others.
From this day, you don't belong to any political party. Because if you identify with any political party, especially the ruling party, or whatever you do, it becomes a committee, and we try to guide against such litigations.
The chairman, CROSSEC, speaks.
I really want to assure perseverance. We shall give everybody, everyone that wants to contest election in this state, a level playing field. We're not going to hurt any party. Our duty is we are completely unbiased. We are unbiased.
In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTA News.
The Ogun State House of Assembly Committee on Public Accounts and Anti-Corruption embarked on assessment of some primary health care centers across the 3 senatorial districts to ascertain the level of work done on rehabilitation of the facilities in compliance with financial regulations. The Committee on Environment, on the other hand, inspected the Agere International Produce Market ahead of the proposed relocation of Kara Cattle Market in Obafemi Awode local government to the new site in Ogere, situated in Ikene local government area of the state. Correspondent Yemi Dalemo has details.
Members of the House Committee on Public Accounts and Anti-Corruption, led by the chairman Damilare Bello, Ogun State Commissioner for Health Dr. Tomi Koka, and other stakeholders who inspected the primary health centers in Itausu Ijebu-Ode, Imosan in Odo-Ogbolu and Agura in Shagamu, as well as Ojugboro in Abeokuta North, Ishaga-Owode in Yewa South, and Wasimi in Ewekoro local government areas of the state, said that the visit was to ascertain the level of rehabilitation work done by the contractors in relation to the released funds for the health facilities during the 2022 financial year.
To verify the projects, obviously we have some little challenges which can be discussed with the Ministry of Health and also the PAC.
The advantage is it gives us an independent audit of the work that we've done. And today we felt it was also important for us as the Ministry of Health and Primary Health Center to come along so that we can get direct feedback as to how well the work has gone and for future work, what we needed to improve on. I think we've had a good outing.
The House Committee on Environment, on the other hand, was at the Kara Ram Market in Obafemi Owode local government to ascertain the level of amenities being put in place by the state government ahead of the December 2024 deadline for the relocation of the market to Ogere International Produce Market. The lawmakers were emphatic that the new location will benefit every stakeholder and also expand the state's internally generated revenue.
Where you want to relocate someone is going to be so imperfect way. That's why we are here to give them an assurance that government is ready to take them here, but they are going to do the needful, the necessary to do so that before you can bring someone here, that's going to be the ground is going to be so leveled and everything is going to be okay.
This is a good initiative because it's one of the modern day facilities. You know, they have a semi slaughterhouse that's automated. If it has not been revitalized. So it's a good project by the government.
The lawmakers added that the modern day facilities with automated slaughtered houses being put in place by the government would improve the commercial activities at the market. Representatives of the traditional ruler of Ogere land, Adeolu Idowu, says the community welcomed the new investors and promised peaceful trading relationships. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
That's the size of our bulletin this evening. But remember, you can follow our news updates and programs on the social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching and have a good evening. I am Ene Ojonuba. Bye for now.